This is Susan Wilbanks with blendedinsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic. Hello, bright soul. Thank you for joining me on another podcast. I hope your full moon went well. I hope you were able to release some things and you can feel some things shift in your life. And I hope September is off to a beautiful start. September is my daughter's birthday month, so September is typically busy for me because I have parties to plan and all that kind of stuff. It's all good things. And I'm just incredibly grateful and really just enjoying every moment. And since I have been really focusing my intention on gratitude, rest, and solitude, I'm feeling so easy and relaxed and centered, and I can show up fully, which is just so beautiful. And I don't take any of it for granted. Also, I want to thank everyone who has taken the time to leave me comments and reviews on iTunes and just connecting with me. I really appreciate you, and I want you to know that. Also, I've been receiving several inquiries about leaving donations, and I actually do have a donation button on my website. It's under my sessions tab or even my products tab, but I will begin to leave that in the show notes. And those of you who have asked if you could send me a donation, I so appreciate it. And I want you to know when you invest in me or send anything my way, I always program it and ask that you be blessed many, many, many times over in every area of your life. So I really, really appreciate that. And so for today's podcast, I'll just jump right in. I want to talk about ways, and with all these shifts and changes and big shifts, and it's globally, not just personally, I really wanted to talk about ways to get better and not bitter, because I don't know if you've noticed, but there are a lot of people that are very bitter right now, and it's easy to do. And the reason that people get bitter is because they lament over past situations. And it really just strips all of your power away if you focus everything on an event that happened in the past. And oftentimes it's just the way that they are processing the event. It's not always accurate. The perception isn't always accurate. So, like if somebody did harm to you, I'll give you actually a real example. So I've got a friend of mine who was just basically dirty dealed at work. So an employer dirty dealed them, and this person is just like stewing over it. It's been a couple months now, stewing over it. And at the end of the day, we don't know what was going on behind the scenes. So the way that I always process events, first of all, I allow myself to have the emotion in the moment, but I don't want to get stuck there. So I always think that I am being looked out after. Why? Because I am connected to a higher source. We all are, but I actually intentionally try to stay connected daily. And I am doing good work in the world, and I am doing my very best to generate good karma. I have a very loving heart. I'm very giving. I'm generous, and I do the right thing. I have integrity. So I'm not perfect. I slip up. I'm very flawed. And you all that have listened to me for a while, I'm very open about that. I can get petty just like everyone else, but my focus and my pure heart is to move past that, make amends when I make mistakes, generate more good karma to partially neutralize my negative karma, and continue moving forward. And so the way that I always see it is, if I am really wanting to serve a higher good, energy healers are considered white magicians. Those that do dirty stuff, they're considered black magicians, but that's neither here nor there. Then I believe that the beings are taking care of me and looking out for me. So the way I see it, if something happens that I didn't want, was an outcome different than what I wanted, I always just tell myself there was something there that I didn't know, that the higher beings knew. So they protected me. And so let me just shift my focus and figure out where to go from here. And I'm sharing that because a lot of times people lose sight of that. And the other thing that I've noticed a lot here lately is jealousy. And all of us have seeds of that somewhere along the way. It's a normal feeling to feel like, man, I wish I had that. But jealousy is when you're spiteful towards someone else for what they have. And here is a way, years ago, I shifted this because I remember when my daughter was young and I was just so exhausted and I didn't have support, familiar support or friend support. Like I've always just been a complete single parent. I didn't ever have that family unit. I had loss in my family. So my parents were grieving and trying to get over the loss of their sons. And I didn't have my brother. So there were times when I would just be so exhausted that I would start feeling like jealous of people who had big, strong family units to support them. And the way that I shifted that it's kind of through the work of Abraham Hicks, actually. I started noticing when I draw people into my everyday experience that have something that I'm working toward, I get really excited because I know it's in my energy field and I'm close to it. If they can have it, I can have it too. So it's kind of funny. I have a friend of mine who, when she gets into a relationship with someone, I know I'm about to get into a relationship with someone because she's just a little bit ahead of me. And we're in sync like that. So when she meets someone that's actually of quality, and she's like, oh my gosh, I met someone, we're connected, blah, blah, blah. I get really excited because I'm like, oh, I'm next. And so I get really, really excited for people. And so it's like, it's more about, instead of shifting from jealousy to if they can have it, so can I. And it's in my field because I'm aware of it. So anything that I'm aware of, I can have it too if I want it. It just depends on where I want to focus on it. So I wanted to share that with you because I've used that over the years and it works miracles in my life. And it's a vibration thing. So it's like, ooh, when someone else is excited about something, I tap into the vibration of their pure bliss and excitement. I join them in that. And it's like, wow, it almost feels like it's happening to me too. And in the vibration it is. And so I wanted to offer that with all this going on. And the other thing I wanted to share with you is, life circumstances happen to all of us. And when we have emotional events happen, people that are bitter have usually a lot of cords and a lot of congestion in their back solar plexus. So from the energy healing perspective, it can help so much if you do energy healing. Work with a practitioner because a lot of times those seeds are really tough to get out on your own. So I would say clean your front and back solar plexus, which we'll do a little bit of that today. Usually they have cords. And also a lot of times their will center is very congested because they're energizing it and overthinking it. So this is something that is really, really a struggle for me with these teenagers that I'm surrounded with since my daughter is a teenager and I was like this too. I didn't have this knowledge, at my daughter's age. She has the knowledge and she still does it because her brain's not fully developed. We all do it on some level. But what happens with us is if an event happens to you, and usually it's just something like a misunderstanding. I'll just use an example. So, my daughter had some kid say something ugly to her. And kids do that. They lash out at each other. They're bored. School's not really, they're not really in school. I mean, here it's kind of a joke, to be honest with you, that I know we're just getting started, but they're doing the best they can. It's not really like a real school. I mean, they can turn all their assignments in, get them done like in an hour on a Friday and be done. And the rest of the week, they're just not really going to school. So a kid called her name, and then my daughter took it very personally, of course, and she got on the phone and told all her friends about it, FaceTimed them, and why did he call me this, and he did this and that, and she's energizing it and making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And then she's telling me about it, and I mean, I hear her talking about it all day, and I'm like, my good Lord, let it go. You just took a tiny little seed that honestly, if you didn't water it, it'd probably just die out. But you fertilized it and watered it and told everyone and got everyone else talking about it. And we tend to do that with situations. We energize it and energize it. So one of the strongest things you can do for yourself and best, healthiest things to do for yourself is if something happens, maybe you vent to one friend who is in a space to just help you transmute it and move on. But you don't want to energize it and keep talking about it and thinking about it and all those other things that we tend to do. So, when my daughter was telling me about this person, I said, just block the kid and move on. Stop energizing it. Oh, my poor daughter. So I can hear her going, I'm trying not to energize it. She's speaking my language. Regular people that aren't into this work are probably like, what in the world? Where does she get this language? Anyway, so that's just an example. So when I went to go clean her back solar plexus, to try to help her, she's just starting to drive me nuts with it. I'm like, well, good Lord, it was just a name, move on. And she made it so huge. And so when I looked at her back solar plexus, she had cords like crazy, and her front solar plexus, because that's your current emotion, but your lower emotions, how you're processing the events or your emotions or what's going on. So she had cords there too, because she was telling so many people, and then those people tell people, and then those people tell people. And so I was cleaning it, and then she would re-energize it and it would go back, and then I would get mad. So I'm like, okay, you're going to have to figure this out on your own, because this is exhausting. I am just 10%. You're 90%. So if I clean you up and then you go back and do it again, that's on you. So we also have to use our will center and exercise our choice. Do we want to get better, or do we want to sink into bitterness, which is really miserable? So this is the things that I do when life knocks me down. So for one, I try to look for the lesson, like, okay, wait a minute, what can I learn from this? And I really try to shift it into gratitude. Like I stated earlier, I always think that I'm being protected. So if I didn't get something that I wanted and it didn't work out, I always think there was a reason for this. I am being protected. I am part of a tribe, a family of people who want to make the world a better place. I am here to bring light onto this planet, and I am being used. I've opened myself up to be used for this work. So if something didn't work out, it's for my higher good. The other thing is exercise, physical exercise. When you are upset about something and you move your physical body, because this is your vessel, you push things out of your aura. Because, everything is energy. So you push things out of your aura, you expand your health rays, and it helps you on all levels. So exercise is vitally important for balance. And I'm not, if you can't do like intense cardio exercise, maybe just walking outside. That's a practice that I've been doing here lately. Is almost every evening I walk outside, because I live in a gorgeous neighborhood. And right now the fires are kind of dying down, so it's not so smoky outside, which is nice. And I like to just walk outside and look at all the bunnies. We have tons of bunnies here, and just connect with nature. So that's something really helpful. Energy healing is phenomenal, because it's like that little push. It's like, I'm doing everything I can do. Now let me get that little booster. And so that's great. Also, just focusing on, I trust the higher plan. I know that I'm doing all the right things. I'm serving. I'm giving to charity. I am doing my meditation practice. I do energy healing. I exercise. And I open myself up to be a vessel for higher good. And so what else can I be doing? I have to trust and follow the plan. So the other thing is just focusing on joy and gratitude. So if I feel myself getting really low, and I know it's because we're all pretty aware here, and I'm pretty intuitive. First of all, I'll ask, is it mine or is it somebody else's? And I will immediately look to cut cords, because of the work that I'm doing. A lot of people will try to leech into my energy field, which is why you really have to do a lot of shields on yourself if you're a person that's working with the public, especially if you're doing healing work. If you're not, then it's okay. A lot of times people just subconsciously latch on and leech off of your energy field because they know that you're doing this type of work. So first I'll ask, is it mine? If it is not mine, I'll feel an immediate shift to where I can pull light back in and feel more stabilized and normalized and centered. But if it is mine, then I will just kind of sit and say, okay, so how can I transmute this? I have this conversation with myself and my higher self. How can I transmute this? A lot of times I will put myself on the beach because I love the ocean. I lived in Florida for 4 years. I don't necessarily want to live by the beach, but I enjoy the ocean because the salt water, it's the cleansing properties of the salt water, and it's very therapeutic for me. So I will visualize myself on the beach and visualize things that take me to that transmutation state. So it's kind of like a form of meditation, but I can go there in my mind anytime. And I will do that for myself just to reground and pull myself out. So I believe all feelings are valid. We get stuck there when we lament and we don't do anything about it. And then you sink and sink and sink. And then you need a lot of help to pull yourself out of it. But we all have the power to do that. All of us do. So I wanted to share that here. And really, that's all I have. Most of these things, I know you already know them, but I felt compelled to revisit it, especially with all of these changes and shifts and, my gosh, the political stuff. And I've really just disconnected from it altogether. I only get on social media to get into my groups and to listen to the things that lift me up, and to also post on my Facebook page. That's really the only reason why I get on it. So anyway, that's all I wanted to offer, and let's go into a healing. And I will clean your back and front solar plexus on this healing, and I will also do some shields on you and just some overall cleaning. So you can go ahead and just uncross your arms and legs, and let's get ready to receive. And you might feel emotional during this. I'm cutting cords, and I felt a little bit of that. So if you do, don't resist it. Just let it go. Okay, and so it is. You can come back into your body. Please drink some extra water after that. It's good to do that after any energy healing. It just helps to integrate the energy into the body. And what else? I don't have anything else. Let's continue to stay on the path and do our very best. Support one another, lift one another up. Be kind to each other. It means the world. It really does. And I've focused more on that too, being very grateful. I'm still doing 3 things I'm grateful for in every area, every day. And it really helps to relax me and to connect me to what is most important. And so that's all I have. Have a beautiful week. Take care. Bye-bye.